right, Matrixx and Rhodes Show supporters, we're going to talk about Joe Rogan because, well, Joe Rogan scored another massive deal with Spotify, and this time it's not going to be exclusive anymore to Spotify, and they still paid him $250 million for the number one podcast going. Joe Rogan, you got to give him credit. He's doing something right, and he knows how to negotiate these deals. Spotify inked a new multi-year partnership deal for controversial podcast, controversial variety, go figure. Quote, the Joe Rogan Experience, which is said to be worth up to $250 million. Under the new pact, Rogan's popular show, which has been exclusively available on Spotify for 3 years, will now be available on other audio platforms. Wow. In addition to continued availability on Spotify, Rogan's show will soon be available on additional services including Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and YouTube. The move comes under Spotify's revised strategy to give up exclusive streaming rights in favor of broader distribution, which the company kicked off in 2023, the Wall Street Journal first reported Spotify's renewal. Spotify said it will work closely with Rogan and his team to, quote, continue to maximize the audience of the show across platforms. Under the new pact, Spotify will handle distribution and ad sales for the podcast. Rogan will receive a guaranteed minimum fee from Spotify as well as a cut of advertising revenue. Man, that dude just keeps knocking them out of the park. Quote, the Joe Rogan Experience became exclusive to Spotify under a 2020 deal, which sources confirm was worth more than $200 million over 3.5 years. So he gave himself a nice $50 million raise and got the rights to put it on other platforms. Rogan's show has ranked as the most popular show on the platform for the past 3 years. Quote, for more than 3 years, the Joe Rogan Experience has consistently been the number one podcast across the globe, Spotify said. Per Edison Research Q3 2023 survey of most listened to pods, the Joe Rogan Experience ranked number one for the period. In addition, JRE was number 2 most listened to for women 13 and older in the U.S., according to Edison. Didn't see that coming. But that's pretty cool that Joe Rogan is drawing that much even among women. It's funny. You guys remember all the COVID controversy and them trying to cancel him and all the has-been artists that tried to move out and try to get Spotify to drop him off the platform? You know why they didn't do it? Because he got listeners, and a whole lot of them, and made Spotify a whole lot of money. The comedian, actor, turned podcaster regularly invites provocative guests on JRE, and Rogan and Spotify have faced backlash over some of the show's material that included a boycott of Spotify by several music artists, including Neil Young and Joni Mitchell in early 2022 over Rogan's anti-vax episodes. Well, guess what? That didn't work out very well for them. Spotify said, we're going to let those has-beens go if they want to go, but we're keeping Rogan. Rogan also has drawn fire for promoting anti-Semitic tropes and over his comment to guest Tom Segura that, quote, maybe you should go shoot the homeless people. Oh, my goodness. Let's take note of everything this guy ever says. In February of 2022, Spotify pulled 70 episodes of Joe Rogan Experience in which the host had uttered the N-word. Rogan called the backlash over his slur a political hit job. Well, they went after him because of the vaccine crap. That's exactly why they went after him. And all the usage of that word, by the way, was within context of some kind of story he was telling, but everybody lost their ever-loving mind, even though I can't tell you how many black people came out in support of Joe Rogan saying they knew he wasn't a racist. But we're in a time and place where people are freaking nuts and have absolutely no ability to actually compute logic, I guess. The Joe Rogan Experience originally launched in December of 2009 and has produced more than 2,200 episodes, each averaging 2 to 3 hours in length. He goes on to talk about some of the people he's had on, like David Goggins, who's going to be in Dallas. Other prominent guests include Dave Chappelle, Dwayne Johnson, Robert Downey Jr., Quentin Tarantino, Miley Cyrus, Snoop Dogg, Jewel, Eddie Izzard, Mike Tyson, Post Malone, and Zach Bryan. Quote, I never do a podcast just because a person is popular, he said in the interview. It's always from a place of, I think it would be cool to talk to that person. Very interesting indeed. And, you know, I've always liked listening to Joe Rogan for a lot of things. I was listening when he would do episodes involving UFOs, or if he would do episodes involving, you know, some kind of fitness. You know, he's had a lot of guys on there that do things with kettlebells and, you know, of course, the carnivore diet and all these different kinds of things. Even before he ever started really like getting super political in anything. And even at that, I can't say they do touch on politics in episodes, but they don't just, I mean, it's not just dwelling. I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan, but I will admit, I mean, I listen based on who's on there, who's with him, what the topic is. I watch a lot of the clips. You know, when all that controversy was going down, even Rumble stepped up and was like, look, we'll give you $100 million to come over to Rumble. Now, of course, Spotify was smart and realized we're not going to let this guy go. He's the number one thing we've got going. It's kind of like Netflix and the fact that they were like, we're not canceling Dave Chappelle because everything we put out that Dave Chappelle touches is gold. We want viewers. We are a streaming service, and guess what? It paid off. By the way, when all that controversy was going down, Joe Rogan came out the other side and said that he got something in the neighborhood of about 2 or 3 million new subscribers. And that's the thing about all the cancellation backlash and all these people trying to get these people deplatformed and rubbed out. It backfires. It always backfires. And the popularity of that said person they're trying to squash the voice of explodes. I mean, Joe Rogan was already a monstrous beast anyway, and he just got stronger. And it's hilarious how that works. By the way, Aaron Rodgers is a really good episode too. He is. This is awesome. I mean, he got all this. He got this mega deal. And it doesn't have to be exclusive. Gave myself a $50 million raise. And I can be on YouTube again. Very cool. Tell me what you think, black and white. Oh, I did it. Matrixx and Rhodes Show supporters. Peace them out. Till next time.